How I got introduced to this space was through a volunteership offered by the Department of Science and Technology for young graduates, science graduates. So I applied for the post and I got it, and they then hosted me here at this center. We have tried to populate the space with as much science as possible, as diverse science as possible, from nanotechnology, physics, optics, sound, electricity, life sciences, natural sciences, just so that when one comes into this space, they're able to, for lack of a better expression, to touch science and engage with that.
We are what I call modern day griots, and griots are the storytellers in African history. Griots are people who are trained to have their history, the history of the people, handed down from generation to generation. And as modern day griots, what we have the capacity to do is to harness these stories and put it together for generations to come.
I grew up in both Ghana and the US. In the US, I grew up in a city that produced a lot of cars in Detroit, Michigan. And so I was surrounded by the automotive industry and what they could do. And naturally, it was fascinating to me. And so I wanted to be involved in that. I wanted to design cars. But at the same time, my Ghana upbringing also exposed me to some of the challenges that we have here. There are three pillars, right? Ideate, create, and develop. The first, ideate, meaning that we are creating students who can think creatively. And so in that sense, we are changing mindsets. We are changing the way they think and how they approach problems that they encounter every day. Create in the sense that we are trying to not just come up as, ideate, but we want to eventually turn these solutions into real products and services that actually change society. And so today, at our workshop, for instance, we are looking at robotics. And while they're learning some of the basics of how robots works, from the sensors to the controller to the actions that it does, it moves up and down, what is it actually being used for? What's the mission that it's accomplished?
Right. Yes. 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 Yes.
Education makes a difference to making good leaders. When educated leaders with a broad mind and thinking and training make for good leaders.
We get about 400 applications. We interview 150. We select 30. That is what we have had for the years. The population of the school is 120. And to give them a free education is not cheap. It's expensive, but it's been a work of faith. My biggest challenge is remembering the girls that we have not taken. And this statue seat is here to remind us that we need to stay accountable. We need to remember the girl who was not taken by Daraja. Because we cannot get comfortable. We cannot forget that she's out there waiting to come to Daraja. We use a lot of project-based learning, which is also trying to bring different subjects together. You will make English relate with business studies, and business studies will relate with biology. We recently had a very successful project where students studied our community around here, and they identified the major diseases that people are suffering from. And classroom was not in the four-walled room. They went to the community and they were interviewing people. In geography, they are taught how to collect data, how to sample. And they're using the skills to meet people, learning how to write reports in English, how to write a good questionnaire in English. And they met, asked questions. The information they brought back was used in a biology lesson. And they learned, indeed, there is a lot of cholera because of ABC reasons. They learned there's a little bit of malaria. And it was nice even to bring some health workers from the local hospitals to now use the content that the girls have collected and teach.
Her eyes can actually tell the question that is in her mind.
And Daraja girls know they are all leaders. Literally, when we are interviewing them to get admitted to Daraja, we ask them, tell us of a time when you were a leader. So when they are walking into the school, I know she's really strong and has actually been in a position of influencing others. Every girl who comes to Daraja has a dream. That is what amazes me. They all have a dream and they so want to realize it. And I'm talking about a 14-year-old girl. She has a big vision. She knows the world she wants to live in. And bringing such many minds together, you can imagine how much power there is in this institution. But to build it, we allow ourselves, I allow myself as a leader of this institution to be an inspiration to the girls. Take advantage of Sheila. I've been taught that you don't have to be in a position of power to bring change. You don't have to be in a formal position to be a change maker. Change is from big to small, but it is the small that actually has more multiplier effects, because then the small can be done by more people.
You hear every now and then in the news, there's some boy in Ghana who's doing this, somebody in Rwanda is doing this, Zimbabwe. They develop this by themselves using trash, using materials that, will be considered useless. And you see the capabilities of people. First and foremost, it's the ability to look at your surroundings, see what is the problem, and try to find a solution. Africa is a very innovative space. It's a very creative space. And I think that's sometimes what our leaders miss, because we look outward for solutions instead of looking inside. I
got to be a woman leader who is very confident, a woman leader who is ready to take up the challenges, a woman leader who is championing change. So by the time the girls are graduating out of Daraja, they call themselves agents of change.
Like another area, or that's then so many girls out there. Mm-hmm. And when we go, there's some